Welcome back, guys. This section of the course is going to talk about all things safety related, from the beginning of the sale all the way to the end of the sale. I know a lot of this is going to come off as common sense, but that's okay. I want it fresh in your mind as you're going through your interactions and your transactions with your customers. So I'm going to take you through a list of scenarios, going from the most ideal scenario you want to find yourself in first, so the most ideal first, all the way to the least ideal scenario that you want to find yourself when you interact with your customers. So the most ideal scenario is to meet your customer at a location that's highly populated. I'm talking a lot of foot traffic, like a Walmart, a Target shopping center, a shopping mall, anything like that, preferably in the daylight hours. The reason you want to do this is because if a customer who has ill intentions, somebody who wants to do something to you, maybe run off with your product or anything like that, they're not going to do it. There's tons of witnesses everywhere, and typically if they would do something to you, they're going to be quickly apprehended by somebody, okay? Now, the next ideal, this is the second to best situation, is having your customer meet you at your house during daylight hours, preferably. The reason for this is because you know your surroundings very well. It's your house, it's your domain, it's where you're at, okay? If somebody does have any ill intentions, wants to steal your product, harm you in any kind of way or fashion, they're not going to feel very confident doing so. They don't know if you have weapons. They don't know anything about your location. So if you have them meet you at your house, the odds are they're probably not going to mess with you. So that's the second to best scenario you want to find yourself in with a customer. Now the last one, and this is the one I typically find myself in the most. This is the least safe scenario. And it's going to your customer's house anytime, whether it's daytime or nighttime, it doesn't really matter. So I find myself personally in this situation the most often because I deal with mostly appliances and furniture. Your business model might be different. You may deal with smaller objects like a cell phone or maybe books or rings, jewelry, you name it, okay? But I have a delivery service tacked on so I can make more profit. Whenever you go to a customer's house, you literally know nothing. You don't know what you're walking into, and you don't really know their intentions at all whatsoever. So special precautions need to be taken whenever you find yourself in this situation. So number one, if you go to their house, I would have some type of weapon on you, whether it's mace, a knife, maybe you know kung fu or some kind of martial arts, whatever the case may be. It might be a smart idea to arm yourself with something or some knowledge of self-defense. Number two, it's always great to bring a spotter. Bring a friend, a family member, or just somebody you know who wants to come along for the ride. If you have somebody else with you, that's an extra eyes and ears for you to basically, have somebody that's a witness to anything that might happen. And it's going to turn somebody off who wants to harm you if they see that you brought a companion with you. And number three is just use your common sense. Don't get yourself into the situation to begin with. If you go to their Facebook page and they're talking about some really fishy, sketchy things, or if just the transaction seems weird, you have a gut feeling that something is just not going well, don't do it. Don't get yourself into that situation, okay? It's better to avoid a bad situation than prepare for one that you just got yourself into. So those are the three scenarios you're going to find yourself in most commonly. And like I said, ranked from the most ideal situation all the way to the least ideal situation. Now on to a couple more topics regarding safety. Do not, under any circumstances, text, surf Craigslist, or anything like that on your phone while you're driving. It goes without saying. And listen, I'm not a saint. I've done this myself before. You're texting a customer, hey, I'm 5 minutes away. I'm going to be at your house soon. Don't do it. I've had close calls where I had to brake and barely miss a vehicle, just from doing this. It's not worth it. We're all here to make a living, and we're all here to put food on our tables. But if we get into a wreck or something like that, it's going to quickly ruin our profits. And more importantly, it's going to injure yourself or somebody else, okay? And number two, and this goes back to what I was saying before, bring with you a spotter whenever you possibly can. Somebody just to ride along with you, keep you company, and it's just always better if you can do it to have two pairs of eyes and ears. And also another common sense thing, especially if you're dealing with very heavy, bulky items, is make sure they're very secure. Make sure that you have straps so it stays connected to your vehicle. The reason for this, and I can tell you from personal first-hand experience, I've had a sofa fall out of my truck onto the interstate or the freeway. I've had a washing machine fall out of my truck onto the interstate. Okay? It is a horrifying, terrible experience. You can get sued for a lot of money if somebody hits it, and you can injure somebody else. Okay? I would not wish that to happen to you or anybody else. So please make sure that whatever you have in the back of your vehicle, especially if you're dealing with bulky items for the majority of your business, make sure it's secured and strapped down before you go. Double and triple check. It takes literally 15 seconds. And it could save you a lot of money, and it could save the lives of other people on the interstate as well. Like I said before, I know a lot of this stuff is going to sound common sense to you, but it's always good to have it fresh in your mind when you're going throughout your day. You know, always be alert. Always think of somebody's ulterior motives. I don't say this to discourage you from doing this business, okay? This is a very negative topic, but in actuality, it's a positive thing to think about these things because it keeps you safe and it keeps you making money longer in this business. So that concludes the safety talk. I will see you in the next chapter.